Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at one of the strongest teams in the current Go Battle League meta, and honestly one of the Pokemon that people just completely underestimate. Nobody is really talking about Mandibuzz, and Mandibuzz, I know, not the most exciting Pokemon, don't get me wrong, fully aware, but I am here to showcase you teams that work, and this team worked like wonder. Like honestly, I did 3 sets with this team fully, and I think half of a set I definitely went way positive. I know that I went 2 times 4-1 and 1 time 3-2, and I do think that I won all of, like, I think I did like 3 battles in the set. In the other set, I think I won all of them as well. So we are at a total of, yeah, I think 14 wins and 4 losses with this team, somewhere around there. I climbed quite a lot with this team as well. I climbed around, like, I think 130 points with this team. It is ridiculous. Like, this team is absolutely amazing. I would absolutely recommend you to give this team a try. We're going to have, of course, more of a classic line here. Actually, this is a line that you would have been playing very similarly already in previous seasons. What I mean with that is, like, I don't know, 15 seasons ago. I know that Corviknight maybe wasn't a thing, but there would have been a different alternative option as a Say-Sop. But basically, the core of Mandibuzz and Swampert is like fully back now. Mandibuzz got buffed quite significantly recently as well, with the Foul Play being cheaper and the Shadow Ball being better. It's just such a different Pokemon now again, and it's such a strong Pokemon. We're running Air Slash in order to have some flying type damage, especially against the current Annihilape. Yeah, like, those are everywhere. Like, honestly, Annihilape's absolutely everywhere. So we're going to be able to hit them for super effective damage, but also going to be able to hit Weakly Tough at least for some neutral damage. Weakly Tough is honestly the biggest problem currently, in my opinion, for the Open Great League. This Pokemon is absolutely everywhere, and that is going to be quite a bit of a tough one for a Pokemon like Mandibuzz to succeed. And this is why we tweaked the team a little bit by going for Sludge on the Swampert. I actually had Earthquake on there before. I do think, generally speaking, that Earthquake is the better move to go for. But with a team like this, where we use it basically in order to support the Mandibuzz, it makes way more sense to go for Sludge, which also helps against the Azumarill matchup. Or just to generally have Mandibuzz in the best position possible and just be better against Fairy-type Pokemon. Here, the opponent subs into the Clodsire. I can go into my Swampert. We do a lot of damage here, like we do a lot of damage with our Hydro Cannon, but of course they're going to be able to go for the Earthquake as well, which is doing quite a bit as well against if we would let it go. But if we can go for our own Hydro Cannon is coming through, is going to be enough to knock out the opponent if they would have let this move go. And most likely it would have not been enough. I think it would still survive with a few HP. But they go for the Earthquake anyway. I can go for the Hydro Cannon, but they sub out into the Corviknight. This is not enough. Absolutely not. I'm fully aware this is not going to knock us out. And so we're going to be able to go and have 2 Hydro Cannons against whatever they have in the back, which in this case is going to be a Jellicent, and that is not ideal. I should have not thrown here, but I wanted to throw something at least in order to not lose all my advantage here. And we'll see here the Jellicent. I went on purpose here for the CMP type because I know I can even take 2 surfs at this point. Like, look how bulky Mandibuzz is. Like, this Pokemon is insane. But I know that we're going to be able to take the hit, and I can still go for another one here. And now the switch clock is so unaligned that the opponent cannot really take an advantage of that either. We have the Clodsire coming in here. I have still a charge move slot on my Swampert. Remember, I can go for my own charge move. They didn't go for anything that they went for. And so we will be able to just swap, go for the Hydro Cannon straight away, win the battle. And I don't think we actually went into the Corviknight at all in this one. Yeah, we sometimes just don't need all of our Pokemon either. Next up, though, we're going to have Toxapex against us in Elite, which is fantastic. Even if you don't have Earthquake, you're still going to win this matchup, but they swap out into the Sableye. And I was thinking, my best play is very likely to just stay in here and play that out. Why? Sableye had a lot of energy at this point already, which would be a bit problematic for the matchup against the Mandibuzz, as Sableye has guaranteed a super effective coverage move against Mandibuzz in either Power Gem or the Dazzling Leap. And so we don't really need to do anything there. We can just stay in here and just knock them out. And I just go straight for my move because I know at this point as well that even if they sub on the Toxapex, which they do here, I still have enough health in order to get up to another Hydro Cannon before swapping out into my actual answer, which is going to be the Corviknight. Corviknight does super effective fast move damage, which is amazing, as well as we are going to be able to boost our own attack up with Air Cutter. And also, because on what we knew already about the opponent and what Pokemon they had with the Sableye, I'm going to overfarm, so I hopefully have basically a payback still stored after I go for this Air Cutter. In order so I can kind of punish the opponent's Sableye if they want to swap into this. I get the attack boost, I can go for the payback exactly as planned. This should knock out the opponent immediately. And yet again, the Toxapex comes in here. We can go for the Air Cutter. They haven't even seen our final Pokemon yet. This Air Cutter is going to be enough to knock them out from this range because boosted with our attack. Okay, one more fast move there is needed. In comes Spiritomb, and at this point, they just forfeit. Alright. Wicked tough. This is exactly why we have a Sludge. This is still not a good matchup, by the way. Like, we are going to kind of generally lose this matchup. I do think that non-Shadow Swampert might be actually better. My issue is, I feel like it never spawns, like the pre-evolution here for Swampert. I have no idea, like, the last time it was actually in an event. And I still don't have a good one. I still just don't have a good non-Shadow Swampert. I have, yeah, tried. I have one that is shiny, which is actually the one I played in the first season of the Go Battle League, but that is a 12, 15, and 6. I just don't want to run it over a Shadow that has nearly perfect AVs. So, yeah, generally speaking, I do think that the non-Shadow would have been better for this team, though. I don't think that Shadow Swampert is needed. I feel like that's currently generally the trend that a lot of Shadow Pokemon are better as a non-Shadow. In the case of Talonflame, I wouldn't really say that. I think Shadow Talonflame is quite nice. But yeah, let's take a look here at what the opponent is going to do against our Swampert still. We can go for a charge move here. This is going to allow us to get the shield from the opponent. And they go back into their Jellicent here now. This is going to be a bit of a tough battle because they still have energy, I think, on their other Pokemon, on the Talonflame. And so I'm kind of forced to keep my Pokemon here alive, or also keep my shield here. Still, of course, I need to keep my Pokemon alive. It's my final Pokemon, what they were saying. But I'm going to need my shield here still, because any move from the Talonflame is, of course, quite a bit stronger than whatever, yeah, else we have here. And they actually try to catch the move here, but because I go for the Shadow Ball, which is a harder hitting move, I can one-shot them and all the energy goes to waste. I can go for the Shadow Ball again as I still have a shield left. And now this game is over, as we're going to be able to take down the opponent's Jellicent, and again, we can move on to the next opponent. Like, this team was just fantastic. Like, it honestly was such a good team to run. Like, it's just like such a safe team. Like, you have a lot of bulk on this team, but you also have still the option to yeah, try to, I don't know, like, just generally destroy the opponent with a lot of damage output. Like, you have the option to boost yourself, which is amazing. You have still Shadow Ball even on the Mandibus, which does do some solid damage. And then you have Swampert, of course, with the Hydro Cannon, which we all know is doing a lot of damage. Here, by the way, I make a bit of a mistake. I should have went for a payback. I didn't do that. Yeah, and now I'm in a very tough spot because now I didn't knock out the opponent's Quagsire. That was just a silly play. Like, it was just unnecessary. Like, I didn't really play this matchup right. If I did, I very likely would be in a better position for myself. But here, Hydro Cannon comes in. We're going to get the shield from the opponent. We can go for our own shield. We are going to outspeed them all the time. We are going to be able to win this matchup as well. But we could have been in such a better spot for ourselves. So, like, that's kind of unfortunate, as now we have the Hydro Cannon that's coming through. We are going to see here the Gastly coming back in. We can get a little bit of damage in here. This is kind of what I want to see as well. I want to get the damage, because of what I can do now is I can stop out into my Mandibus. I can try to catch a move here. It is going to be that Brutal Swing, and in comes the Gliscor. And that's actually going to be quite nice. Gliscor's only move that they can go for basically here is Acrobatics. But it's not going to knock me out, so I don't have to shield the first one, unless they go for the Sand Tomb debuff and then go for the Acrobatics. And so it's just safe to shield no shield the first one. We're still not even in Sand Tomb range. I can go for the Shadow Ball now, which is doing way more damage, by the way, than Foul Play. And we put them into a range where I should be able to just let this move go and win with my Swampert. Sand Tomb doesn't knock me out, as said before already. They go into their Gauss-Load. I can go for a Sludge. Sludge is quite nice for this matchup specifically as well. We knock them out, and yeah, we're just going to win this battle. Again, as you can see already, like, this is a fantastic team so far. In comes here now Medicham. Not as ideal, but also not that bad. But again, we kind of want to try to utilize our team as much as possible in the way we're kind of intended to use. So we have a Bleed that's very weak to generally a lot of Pokemon in terms of like the damage. Like, we're quite squishy is what I want to say with that. And we have two very bulky Pokemon on the back, so if we get some damage off with our lead already and the opponent has energy, we kind of would rather have the energy against our backline, which can take it quite a bit easier. Here we have Fortress against us. Fortress is quite difficult for this team to deal with when your Swampert is down. Our Swampert is not down, and so we're going to be able to swap into this Pokemon and no shield. Why? Because they still have the Medicham, and I am a bit worried about this Pokemon. But I'm also going to be able to reach another charge move here against the opponent's Fortress, which is forcing them to let this Pokemon go down. And now I'm in a position where I'm hopefully going to be able to use my team to the fullest, basically, here. I will use 2 shields here, because I'm already committed. Like, if I go for 1 shield already, there's no reason for me to not go for another shield. Hydro Cannon is coming through here as well. They're either going to get KO'd or they're going to try to shield, which is fine. In comes Licky Licky, and now I'm not in the best position, but I'm also not in the worst position. Licky's charge move I actually kind of find for our Mandibus, which is hilarious. Like, they ever like to try to go for the Shadow Ball in order to get rid of the Swampert. I get too fast in here because they're kind of just delaying themselves, but then they panic and then they go for the wrong move and we don't take any damage really at all. We are basically a foul play already. Yes, they can go for the body slam spam, but like, sorry, like you're not doing a lot of damage here. They have still the Medicham there. Yeah, like we're gonna knock out the Licky here already. They are forced to go for one Ice Punch quite literally straight away. And I'm fairly certain Ice Punch is not going to be enough to knock us out. I don't think a Dynamic Punch is going to be enough to knock us out because Mandibus is one of the strongest Pokemon in the game, or like one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game. And it's honestly such an underrated pick right now. Like nobody's using this Pokemon. I haven't really seen it at all. And like it's such a good Pokemon right now. Like it's honestly such a good Pokemon. Annihilape, what do you do in this lead? Okay, here the opponent stops into Feraligatr, which is not ideal. We have Sludge, which we can still go for, which we outspeed the opponent to. That's why I'm going to do that. Of course, Feraligatr has good coverage against my backline, so I'd rather just go ahead and stay in, go for a harder hitting move here, get them low to the point that I can just catch the move and play it out. And afterwards, now I have alignment, now it's going to be a bit easier. What do you do if Annihilape is not going to swap out? This happened to me quite often. Again, I did do, I think, around 18 battles. Like, this team took quite long. Like, if I would put every battle into this one here right now, it would be, yeah, in a position where this video would be double or triple as long as this one here. So I need to cut down a little bit. I didn't really want to have a 30-minute video about on how good Mandibus is. Mandibus maybe would deserve it, but like, yeah, basically not all the battles are in there. What do you do against Annihilape in the lead? They're very likely always going to go for the Rage Twist right away. They're going to win Team Peter against Swampert. Just shout out to you like that, like already you know that about it. And if that happens, you're going to let the move go. And you go for the Hydro Cannon. No matter what the opponent is going to do, you're going to swap out into your Corviknight. If they shield, alright, you're going to go for the Egg Cutter. If they don't shield, alright, you go for the Egg Cutter. You're going to not outspeed them to the Rages, but you're going to be able to outspeed them to the Close Combat with your Corviknight then. And you're just going to apply pressure with your backline. That's all. Like, you can take a Rages on your Shadow Swampert. Shadow Swampert isn't as bulky, as squishy. But look at this, by the way. Close Combat is not going to two-shot us here, which is actually going to win us a battle. Mandibus is honestly such a beast. Like, this Pokemon is ridiculous. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell? You tell me that this Pokemon just took 2 Close Combats from Annihilape and a lot of fast moves and still standing here knocking out everything. It's crazy. Like, this thing is absolutely crazy. Malmar. Malmar, a Pokemon that's currently definitely have an upwards trend in the competitive scene from especially top PvP player. I see this Pokemon quite often suggested or like used in order to hit very good leaderboards placements. I'm actually a little bit below the leaderboards. I did lose quite a lot of Elo recently towards I think the end of the last iteration there, as well as had also some Great League teams you didn't see on YouTube that didn't really work out. So like I'm only at like 2,500 now, which is I think around 100 points below the leaderboards. I will get there. Like Leo could be 2 sets them on the leaderboards, but yeah, just generally speaking, like I'm a bit below from where I was before already. I was at 2,600 already on this channel, and this would be, I think, even at the current time, still like in the top 100 or top 200 for the leaderboards. It's kind of funny, and I did this like a week ago, but yeah, currently I'm a little bit lower. I honestly have to admit as well, this is one of the reasons why I don't really like the Great League right now. It took me quite a while to get used to the weekly tough meta. For example, this battle is lost. Like, this battle is lost. Weekly tough is so broken in so many different situations. I feel like this Pokemon deserves a nerf for sure. What I suggest is just like -1 energy on Charm. That's all. Like, this is all. But otherwise, like, this Pokemon is just too fast as well, even to go to the charge moves now. I have no idea why Weekly Tough got buffed so much recently as well. It doesn't need it. I really never needed it. Like, Weekly Tough has been broken basically for the last 20 seasons, and so we forfeit here. And we go to the final battle, which is a very interesting one, as we're gonna go up against a non-Shiddle Sableye. A Pokemon that you maybe don't see all the time, so how do we play against it? We want damage. And so, why gonna stay in as long as they gonna stay in, and as long as I haven't hit a Hydro Cannon? We generally outspeed the opponent. This is the benefit here. We always outspeed the opponent. Doesn't matter the CMP type, because the second charge move, the second Hydro Cannon, we reach after only 4 fast moves, which now allows me here as well. I would reach the Hydro Cannon in time to knock them out, or Is it actually going to knock them out? It's a non-shadow version, so it does a little bit less damage. And a little bit less damage actually impacted quite a bit. We're not going to be able to knock them, but we're going to be able to catch the move. I should have maybe went into the bus now in hindsight because I would have been able to take resisted damage. But then again, we have the Charjabug coming in. This is going to be a bit of a tough matchup to win. Charjabug against my team at this current point of time is pretty much a lost cause. I mean, we have 2 flying type Pokemon and a dead Pokemon, so yeah, that is not great, but somehow they allow me to get them down into the red health with my flying type Pokemon. Don't ask me how or why or when. I don't know. Like, it just didn't make sense. They go for another discharge here. I was kind of surprised. I was expecting them going for the Exeter, but now I get them low and I can swap out and they swap out into the Sableye and they can farm them down. They have a Hydrocan stored and they're going to go into their final Pokemon, which is going to be the Quagsire. But I am in a position where this is not going to be enough to knock them out, and because it is the non-shadow Quagsire, this matchup itself is all of a sudden so much worse than what I expected it to be. Because if it was a shadow one, they would have went down. They would have even went down to a foul play at this point, but they didn't, and so they can get still Stone Edge off, and sadly, the Charjabug still had another discharge stored, and so we're sadly going to lose the last battle here of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.